What's going on, guys? Nico here, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to create and use seventh chords that sound like this in your music. They have a really nice ring to them. Now, there's three different types of seventh chords that you will know by the end of this video. So make sure you watch all the way till the very end, because I'm going to be breaking down things that have never been taught this way before. So with that being said, let's get started. I wanted to quickly announce that I'm giving away a free piano lesson. So if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, comment down below piano mastery, and I'll be selecting one winner every Friday. Additionally, down in the description, I'm giving away a lot of MIDI packs, songwriting PDFs. Check those out if you're a music producer, because I definitely think they will help you out. Now, with that being said, let's get started and jump to the piano. So the first chord type we're going to be going over is a major seventh chord. We're going to be playing in the key of C, so we have our 7 notes right here. And I start off creating these chords by finding the root. So we're going to start off with a C major 7th chord. So the first thing I do is I find my C, and then I use one of the chord strategies that I created. So for the C major 7th chord, we're using the 3-2-3 strategy. So we count up 1, 2, 3, next chord, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. And I typically like to play these chords. If I'm playing with my left hand, I'll use my pinky, middle finger, pointer finger, and thumb. And in my right hand, which I'll play them for now, we're going to be using the thumb, pointer finger, middle finger, and pinky. And that has that really nice sound there. So that's the first chord we're creating, the C major 7th chord. Let's do one more before we jump into the minor chords. Now, I want to play an F major 7th chord. So I go here, I have my F, I count 1, 2, 3, I count 1, 2, and I count 1, 2, 3. And the notes in between are also known as semitones or half steps. So if you're drawing in notes into your DAW, you can still follow these strategies even if you don't use the piano. But what I'm trying to make a point here of is that every chord that you're making, use strategies, because it will get you going a lot faster. So we've created now 2 chords in a matter of probably under 2 minutes, and it was pretty simple. Now, something to know about the major 7th chords is that it's actually a combination of 2 chords. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we have 4 notes here, and if we take our first 3 notes, we have a C, E, and G. And how do we create major chords? We use the 3-2 strategy. If you look at the last note, which is a B, so we take our last 3 notes in this 7th chord, we have an E, we have a G, and we have a B. This is a minor chord. So the cool sound about these is you're meshing together major and minor sounds, which makes it just stand out and sound unique, because most people don't know how to use 7th chords. So the 2 that I suggest when you're in the key of C or any key are going to be that first note in your key, creating a major chord off of that, and then the 4th note in your key, creating a major chord off of that. And I go a lot more into chord progressions and how to create them very quickly in the chord lineup video, so you can check those out as well. Now, jumping into minor chords, we're going to change up our strategy here, and we're going to use the 2-3-2 strategy. So one chord I want to play is a D minor 7th chord. So we count, I'll just start with the root, which is a D, count up 2 semitones, 2 half steps, 2 notes. Then we count 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we count 1, 2. Very simple. Now, the difference between this and the major one is that our first chord is minor and our second chord is major. So we combine them and we get that nice, unique sound. Now we have major, minor, and there's 2 other notes I like starting to create these minor chords when I'm in a certain key. So I look back at my notes. My first chord is going to be a major chord that I'm creating with C. We have D, which is going to be a minor 7th chord, and then E minor. So an E minor 7th chord is a chord I also like to play. And then we have our F chord. Now there's 2 notes that I haven't covered creating chords yet, and the first one is going to be the G here. So traditionally in a major scale, and I hate getting too much into music theory, this note is going to produce a major chord. Now, if I'm going to make a major 7th chord, I have to use the 3-2-3 strategy. So I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, then 1, 2, 3, and that next note is an F sharp. But I mentioned earlier in this video that we're only playing with the white keys here. So Something to keep in mind, and I'm not going to go into in this video, is once you play a sharp or one of the black keys, you're jumping into another key's territory. And this goes way deeper into borrowing notes, borrowing chords, and is way too much for this video. So what I'm going to suggest to you guys out there is that you can try out the third chord type that I'm going to talk about, which is it's just the seventh chord. It's not major, minor, it's just called the seventh chord. Now, I call these corny chords because it just sounds corny. But if you want to try using these, this is the way you can make them. So it's the 3-2-2 strategy. So we go here and we count. We start with our G, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Now, I don't like the sound of this. So if you want to keep the jazzy feel, but at the same time still use a G major chord, what I suggest is playing a G sixth chord. And there'll be another video on how to create sixth chords, my favorite sixth chords. But for all intents and purposes, it's just the 3-2-1 strategy. And because you can use the G major seventh, but it may not sound good because this F sharp is not one of the first 7 notes I talked about in the key of C. Now, these are 7 notes that we can use. Now, again, for this video, for other purposes, I'll get into more technical, more advanced stuff. There are ways that we can borrow notes from other keys like the F sharp or the G flat, whatever you want to call it. So at this point, you guys actually have, well, let me go into one quick thing. Normally the 7th note in this scale, right, in a major scale, you're going to create a diminished chord out of this. This is just the way that this was created. The way you create a diminished chord is use the 2-2 strategy. So you go 1, 2, 1, 2. So you play this 1, 2 next, and then here, 1, 2 next. Now, what I suggest to make this sound good, there's one way to do it. You can use the 2-2-3 strategy, and this is a bonus 7th chord that I'm adding into this. You go 1, 2, 3. And I came up with this actually very a short time ago, and it sounds pretty good. So we're actually taking all the notes in the key of C and we're using them, but we're creating a 7th chord with a diminished chord. So that's actually a bonus type here. You're getting 4 chord types instead of 3. I normally don't use this chord that much. It has like a 1920s feel to it, which could be pretty cool to use in your music. But for those that are trying to make that jazzy, sexy sound that I've been discussing over and over again, you have 5 chord types you have 5 chords in the key of C that you can use that are 7th chords. I'll go over the major ones one more time and then the minor ones, and then I'll send you on your way to have fun creating these for yourself. The first chord, which is going to be a C major chord, and then C major 7th chord, and then the 4th chord, which is an F major 7th. Then we have the 3 minor 7th chords. We have our 2nd chord, which is a D minor 7th, the E minor 7th, and then the A minor 7th. For the G chord, instead of playing the corny, just 7th chord, I like to make it a G major 6th chord. And then for this diminished chord, the 7th chord in our scale, music family, whatever you want to call it, I add in the 2-2-3 and create this unique chord. So with that being said, you guys now know the strategies on how to create the chords, and you can mess around with chord progression. So let's say you have a basic chord progression right here. I'm just going to make it an A, an F, and then a C, and then D minor. So with this A minor chord now, if you have this chord progression, why don't I use one of the strategies? I can use the 2-3-2 strategy. So I have my 2 notes here, I have my 3 notes here. Let me add 2 more notes. And then we have our F chord, so let's add the F7. And then we have the C chord next. So we go here, and we add our D minor chord. And I went through that quickly, but you guys can go back and take any chord progression that you used and then apply the strategies that I'm showing you here to spice them up a bit. Now, maybe you only do it to one of the chords. So we play an A minor, an F, a C, and then the last one, that D minor chord, I made it a 7th chord. And this stuff you guys play around with and experiment with, but this is one way to make your music stand out because most people don't know how to use the 7th chords appropriately. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you took something out of it. If you did, please comment, like, subscribe down below. Hit the notifications bell so that you guys get alerted whenever I come out with these videos. I'm going to have a bunch of them that I'm filming right now, so there'll be lots of value in the future. Additionally, check out all the free downloads I have below for the music producers. I have the cheat codes, the MIDI packs, really anything that can help you guys in your compositional process. And like I mentioned earlier in this video, if you want a chance to work with me one-on-one for free and really deep dive into all this in a piano lesson, just comment down below Piano Mastery. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will see you next time.